Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Another follow-up from the one I did a week ago. I thought I'd come on here and share something I wanted to share, months ago. What was it, July 29th of 2024, they shut down the Xbox 360 store. And so we lost all of the non-backwards compatible games in the way of digital games, and DLC were gone forever. So if you didn't get them by then, you were kind of shit out of luck. But I spent about a good 8 weeks. I remember like a couple months when I heard the news, I said, I've got to get focused and like go through and find the games that aren't on the backwards compatibility list that are heavy with DLC. And I wanted to find out and get all the DLC that I hadn't had a chance to get yet before it's too late, as well as a good handful of, I think 4 or 5 or 6 digital games that look really good. But it took me a while to find them. I mean, there's a lot of games that were on there going through A to Z. I'd take a letter or a few letters a night and go through and look for every Call of Duty game. Was there any map packs that I would like to have? Was there any DLC expansions, that kind of thing? And I found a ton of games. I'm going to show you all that on the actual TV on my 360. I'll show you what I've got in there and why I focused so heavily on getting that before it was too late. So I'm thrilled to have everything that I wanted. I'll talk about one game that I wanted bad and missed the boat on, but aside from that, I pretty much got everything that I wanted. There was another couple games that had 60 to 70 bucks worth of DLC, and the price was high. You could get the game dirt cheap, but the DLC was just like, they kept the price way up there. It's like, geez, for what I could spend for that DLC for that one game, I could buy tons of DLC for the other games that I would rather have that DLC for. So you had to kind of pick and choose, and that pretty much was why I spent a good 8 weeks. It took a while. Then the last like 2 weeks is when I really started going in and actually buying it. I bought a ton of those little Microsoft, gift card deals that had 50 bucks on them, 25, whatever. And I, redeemed the code, and I just use those. I think I might have used a credit card for some, but I try to use cash for those and then buy those gift cards and then redeem them. And then I've got money in my account to allocate, for DLC and games. But I got a few games here I thought I'd show and the reasons why I think most of these, if not all of them, are not backwards compatible, but good reasons to have an Xbox 360 in 2026. You'll see all these videos now of Far Cry 3 in 2025, is it worth playing now than, back in 2013 or whatever. So games like Chronicles of Riddick. Now I'm not sure, I don't think this is in the backwards compatibility deal, but because this is such a great game and you get all of the Escape from Butchered Bay is remastered for the 360. It looks so much better than the version that's on the original Xbox. A great reason to have an Xbox 360. A lot of people say, well, backwards compatibility. I can play on my Xbox One X or the Series S or Series X and play all those games. What do I need a 360 for? Well, the 360, and you'll see a video, I'll try to link it down below, but there's a video I did 60 games that are non-backwards compatible and good reasons to get a 360. And then I found another 30. The next week I did another one and uploaded it, 30 more games that you could buy and play on the 360. So there's quite a few, a lot more than you might think. I took a handful here. Dead to Rights Retribution. Now I'm in the middle of playing this too. I've got maybe a few hours into it. This is really good, really violent, over the top, a lot of fun. And you get a dog that you can call your dog on the criminals, and it just goes right for the nuts or the throat, one or the other. It's quite funny, but anyway, a great game. I'm really happy with a lot of these older games. I believe the Batman Arkham Origins, I don't think it's backwards compatible, or maybe this one is, but the other two aren't, City and Asylum. So I think this is another good, this is my favorite actually, more so than the Rocksteady ones. I really like Batman Arkham Origins a lot. It's my favorite of all of them. Kane and Lynch 2, Dog Days. I think the first Kane and Lynch is backwards compatible, but I could be wrong. But I don't think the second one is. This is very realistic. You want to see something like the Heat movie in a form of a game? this is what you want. It's over the top with violence, extremely violent, but it's a fun game, you know, and kind of in the vein of fun, you know, comedy type games and what have you. But Hitman Absolution, my favorite Hitman game. Sounds like something's loose in here. Let me see. What do I got? Oh, I had the original registration card and a code for something in here. Probably, I think, for pre-ordering it. But I have all the DLC for this. This is a good reason why I have this game installed, plus all the DLC in my 360. This is my favorite of the Hitman games, which is not with everyone, but it is with me. Brothers in Arms, Hell's Highway. You can see this is a Best Stop exclusive. My friend Jeremy got me a really nice box set of this with a little, I think it's an action figure that comes with it, military dude. But this is a great game, and I think there's DLC for this. I'm not sure, but this is, I believe this is in my hard drive. I don't believe the club is part of the backwards compatibility, but this is a fun game where you go through in your time to see how fast you can get through a warehouse and take out all the thugs, and it's over the top, and it's kind of like a racing game, but with violence. See how fast you can get through a level and take out all the perps. You know, it's a fun game. Import Tuner Challenge. This is part of that Tokyo Highway Battle series that went back to the original PlayStation. And I think it was on the Dreamcast and a few other games. On the PlayStation 2, there were actually a bunch of them. There was one game on the 360. They changed the name to Import Tuner Challenge. So it's the same series as the Tokyo Highway Battle, but for whatever reason, they gave it a different name in America. But this is a great game. I get hours into this. It's very slow paced in a way for a racing game, which is kind of unusual, but it's just a lot of highways at nighttime, and it's a lot of grinding is what it amounts to, but a fun game. And you're out in the highway late at night. I got like a 350Z that I'm got built up inside the game, and here's a Supra on the cover, and it's just a great game. This is really a fun. If you're into import tuners, I like them from Nissan. Like I had a 240SX 1995. That car would be worth a fortune today because it was an independent rear suspension, kind of a rear wheel drive too. I should have kept it. That car was so nice. It had a pearl white one. It had a $2,000 Alpine sound system in it, huge amp and subwoofer in the trunk. It really was a fun game to cruise around in. Need for Speed The Run. I don't believe that's on the backwards compatibility. An excellent reason to have a 360. Midnight Club 3 LA Complete Edition. A fantastic game. I don't think this is part of the, I could be wrong, I don't believe it's backwards compatible, but nonetheless a great reason to own a 360. Dirt 2 is my favorite of all of the Dirt games. This is so much fun and extremely addictive. I don't think there's any DLC that I have for this, but I really like the game a lot. I highly recommend it. If you like rally racing and stadium trucks, that kind of thing, very cool game. Extremely well done. Great instant replays. You can play it back in multiple different view angles and everything's just very cool. Flat Out Ultimate Carnage. Basically, this is Flat Out 2 remastered. You could get it on the original Xbox or PlayStation 2 as Flat Out and Flat Out 2. But this is the Flat Out 2 version, completely remastered. Great particle effects, better frame rates, a lot more stuff going on the tracks, and debris everywhere. The cars are much more detailed. Great game. This is an extremely underrated game, and not a lot of people, talk about this at all. Some of my Diet Pepsi, what I got left here. Bloodstone 007. This is the only game that I'm missing for a Bond game that I'm missing a strategy guide for, and then all my strategy guides will be complete for all my 007 games. This game is an outstanding game. And the development team that did, I don't know if it was Bugbear or, I can't remember the name of it, but there's a racing game developer that made this game, so all the driving segments in this are extremely polished. You're in a high-speed boat, deal early in the game, which is fun. Great car chases, extremely well made, great graphics, fun takedowns using melee or using weapons. Again, I don't think this is in the backwards compatibility list. I grabbed a bunch of games. I don't know if they are or not. I don't think it is. Top Gun Hardlock is another great example. This is a really fun, extremely arcadey flight game, but over-the-top explosions. Go out on these oil wells at high speed and zoom past them, launching missiles and blowing them up, and just a great arcade, very fun game with a lot of addictive gameplay, great graphics, good music, everything. Great reasons to own a 360. A lot of people are like, well, I guess I can't play those games anymore, God, you know, and I'm like, dude, you can play the games. Get yourself an Xbox 360. You can even still buy them factory seal where they're brand new. They're pricey. They're like 300, not even 300. I think they're like $500 and up. I saw one for 1,500 factory seal. Guys are nuts. The first Space Marines, now they just recently made a remaster of this, I think on the PlayStation 4 and the Series X and, you know, the newer consoles. But unfortunately, this wasn't part of the backwards compatibility. So having a 360 is paramount to playing a game like this. I hear something loose in this too. Oh wow, the disc is floating around in here. I think I had an extra disc. Yeah, I do. I have, for some whatever reason, I got an extra disc. I don't know why. So I'll put that with the other one here. It won't quite fit on there, but I love the Space Marine game. And of course, it came out, well, I just recently got from my friend Michael the Space Marines 2 for the Series X, which I'm anxious to play. You got Godfather 1 and 2. I don't believe either of these in the backwards compatibility deal. You know, you could play this one, you could play on the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. A fantastic game. There's a really good PlayStation 3 version of it called the John's Edition, but my God, it's like $100 to $150 and up now. It's very expensive. So I had to kind of cross it off my list, unfortunately. But this is a great game. And on the 360, it's like a remastered version of the original Xbox version. And I remember I bought this the week it came out, Godfather 2. You get squad-based mechanics. You get a whole crew of guys. You get a safe cracker. You get a weapons explosive expert. You get all these people, and you're getting an old 67 Cadillac, and they all pile in the front and back doors. And then you go to the crimes, and your little guys get out, and the guy's setting a charge and blows a hole in the wall. You go in, another guy cracks the safe, and you got to get it in the car and peel out of there for the cops to descend like vultures. But really a fun game. It didn't get the greatest of reviews, but these are all great reasons, guys, to get an Xbox 360. You know, it's sad because going forward, it's going to cost so much. I checked into the price. It went from $129. I was going to go buy a 1 terabyte expansion internal SSD card for my Series X, but for 1,000 gigabytes, God, what was it? It was $160 now, and it's going to go up with this, you know, these RAM shortages, and RAM is getting gobbled up with all this AI crap, and the future is going to be very expensive for new consoles, and that hybrid Xbox half PC console thing, I know it's going to be over $1,000. And so it's we're going to get priced out of this. I'm telling you, the thing to do now before, because eventually when everyone realizes how expensive it is for the future of gaming, to where you're going to need a minimum of $1,000 or $1,500 to buy a damn console, and then to get extra storage and all this stuff, it's thousands of dollars. You can get a 2 terabyte, 1,000 terabyte, what was I saying? You get 1 terabyte was 130, and now it's 160 at my GameStop. They've got a 2 terabyte you can get. That's the official Microsoft sanctioned SSD internal storage thing, which you need. If you want to play the newer games, you can't play them off an external hard drive. You have to have that SSD card, and it's like $270 for the 2 terabytes. It's just outrageous. It's so expensive. And so, I mean, I may just have to live with the 1 terabyte hard drive, and it is what it is. I'll just have to delete a shitload of games and then install the other ones. But that's why getting now, while it's affordable, get yourself a PlayStation 3 or a 360 and start buying these games. Some of them are going up in price. Most of them are pretty affordable. It's not too bad yet, but it's going to get worse. That's why I've really focused the last 5-6 years of trying to wrap up all these games and get them now before the prices go, you know, $70, $100 a game. And eventually it's going to happen when everyone realizes they can't afford the new gen stuff. There's going to be like vultures descending upon a road kill on the middle of a road. It's just going to be a free-for-all of everyone, and the prices will go up for Xbox 360s and games that systems you can play offline. You mark my words, it's going to get expensive. Army of 240th Day, there's DLC for this. That's why I had to buy it. Now you can't, this is not backwards compatible, only the first one. So this and the Devil's Cartel are not. Of course, the Wolfenstein game and Singularity. I love these games to death. This game is going to be expensive someday because I don't even think you can get it on PC. It's not, they pulled it from Steam and GOG and everything. So these games are you're gonna have to get a PlayStation 3 or a 360 if you're ever gonna play them, which is sad. So there's probably a good 100 and some odd games that you can't, that aren't backwards compatible, but you're gonna need a 360 if you want to play them, or a PS3. Heroes Over Europe, my favorite flying game. There's a Heroes Over the Pacific for the original Xbox and PlayStation 2. Same team, same franchise. Hey, Vinny, what you doing, bud? You hungry? You hungry? I'll get you some food soon. I got him talking now. Quake 4, I got two versions of this. This is the one. This is the original one that comes with the Quake 2, and there was a newer one revised in 2012 that had a GameStop sticker on it. That has better performance on the disc. That's what I read initially in magazines back in 2012. That's why I have two of these. But this is a great game. Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails did the music for this. Excellent graphics. The frame rate takes a hit now and again when there's a lot of stuff going on the screen. But it's a great game by Raven Software, who also did the Wolfenstein. Oh, I do have Singularity here. So Singularity and Wolfenstein, you've got. These are three reasons to get an Xbox 360 right here. Great games. Great games. So anyway, that's just a quick kind of look at the games. I'm going to show you, sit down and turn it on and show you what I've got in the Xbox 360 in the way of what my games and the few digital games that I do have. I'm going to show you the DLC and my music, everything. It's a great system. And I think now, it's been over a year now, but last July would have been a year since they took the store down. And I remember initially, my goodness, the games were like outrageous. There were some popular games that shot up to like $100 and up for some of the games overnight because everyone was just like obsessed with getting 360 games before the store closed. And it was a free-for-all, guys. It was really bad. Now, since then, the prices have kind of come down a ways and leveled off. Some of the games kind of stayed up there. Some are back down pretty much to what they were. But it's still expensive. And again, with all the resellers and everyone else, everyone and their brother that's collecting games and trying to have fun in the process of reselling. Like I said, I have no problem with people buying a couple extra games at a swap meet or something. You know what, I could probably sell this and double my money on eBay or something. Some people do it as an investment and a way to afford the expensive games that they do want. And I have no problem with that. I understand. But I'm talking about the hardcore resellers. I'm going to do a video soon on that because it's one of my biggest pet peeves are resellers. The ones that are just like over the top with the greed and just screwing their fellow man any way they can at everyone's expense. And it destroys the hobby, which is sad. So when real collectors and gamers want stuff, they can't afford it because of greed. So anyway, I'm going to show you this stuff. And I don't know how long this video is going to be. It probably is going to be pretty long, but I had a lot of fun collecting all this DLC and digital games. And I think you're going to like what I've got in there. So here it goes. I'll segue and show what I've got. Okay, so here's my Xbox 360E with a 500 gig hard drive. There's my old character. I've got a couple of profiles on here. But yeah, July 29th of 2024 is when they shut everything down. And I started probably at least 8 weeks beforehand. When I heard the news, I said, I've got to find something. I'm going to have to go through and do research and buy whatever digital games are left before they're gone forever, buy DLC expansions. And so I was on a mission, and I put a lot of time in. I looked through all the games that I had that were backwards compatible and made a list of all the ones that weren't backwards compatible, that I would have to play on the Xbox 360, like Wolfenstein from 2009, Singularity, games like that, that just for whatever reason weren't on the backwards compatibility deal. You couldn't even get the 2009 Wolfenstein on PC for the longest time. I think it's still off the store, so you really have to get a PS3 or an Xbox 360. There's one of my old profiles there, and let me see, I don't know how to sign in out of it, but I'll go over to here. So in the background, I've got the Forza 4 car page, which is really nice. I'm really happy with it. It has all these kind of photorealistic cars, very similar to the cutout car paintings that I did years before. But I'll go up into here. Let's see, we've got to go into Xbox Live. There we go. Sign in. Beautiful cars. They're all done on a computer, but they're kind of photorealistic, the way I used to paint my cars. So you drop down here to My Games, and I'll quickly show you. These are the games that are all installed on the hard drive, and I have many more that have all the saves. So there's other games that are also only playable on this. And my whole concept was to have two Xbox 360s, have one of them that's basically all my games that are digital games, like the very first Call of Duty, Call of Juarez, Gunslinger, Duke Nukem Manhattan. All of those games are digital only, unfortunately. And even though I'm a die-hard, physical game owner, it's just, you have to do what you got to do. So quickly in here, the games that were heavy DLC games, even if they just had like one DLC expansion, all of those games are installed in this 500 gig hard drive. And I got some digital games here like Alien Breed 2, 3, and 1. For some reason, some of these, the artwork doesn't appear in some of these for whatever reason. Afterburner Climax is an ancient game that was ripped off the store, God, I don't know how many years ago. Thank God I still have it. 007 Legends is, believe it or not, one of my favorite James Bond, extremely underrated. And I have a whole game review. You can go into my, I got a playlist on reviews and impressions, and you can see my review of it and why I think it's better than GoldenEye Reloaded and a lot of those other Bond games. Excuse me, 007 Legends is in there. That had a Skyfall DLC. First you bought the game, and I think it was before Thanksgiving, maybe the end of the summer, September, October maybe is when I got the game, and then pre-ordered it. If you pre-ordered it, you'd get for free the Skyfall mission, which was timed to release with the film, the Skyfall movie, around Christmas time. I don't know if it was January or December, but it was around Christmas. So I pre-ordered it, and I have that DLC. If you don't have it, it's too late now to get it, which is sad, because that's the final mission of the game. So the game is really incomplete. They just wanted to keep it a secret until the film was out, and then you could see the basic premise that was in the movie. They didn't want to give away the store too early, but anyway, there's Afterburner Climax, another great game. Put it in just for a second. I just like seeing the startup menu, and it's pretty cool. But it took me 8 weeks exactly. It was about 2 months of just preparing and doing a lot of research. It took a long time. I had pages and pages of notes of DLC that I wanted. Some of them I didn't even install all the DLC or buy all the DLC. I just installed the DLC that I liked. A lot of the multiplayer DLC I didn't get. But yeah, here's Afterburner Climax. Great game. Let me see if it'll start up here. Oops, hard drive. Yeah, the hard drive. Here we go. Press start. Oops, I hit it too early. It's a great game. It's a shame that people can't get this game today. Now I'm trying. Oh, there it goes. Start button. Oh shit. Oh, I did it again. I keep hitting the wrong button. Come on. pretty awesome. But anyway, there's Afterburner Climax. Just to show a couple seconds of the game there. It's a fun one to play. It takes a while to get into it and get acclimated with the controls, and you can haul ass in it. Let's see what else we've got here. This thing's a little slower than the Series X, naturally. All right, go back to my games. Got to be patient with some of this stuff. You get so spoiled with the newer consoles. But and these are all three, Alien Breed 1, 2, and 3. I bought those. He had a really good sale on that a long time ago, and I got it. Alien Rage was one of the last games I didn't have that I did buy off the store. I forget how much it was, but it looked like a good game. Like I said, I went through every single digital game, and I'd watch trailers, I'd watch game reviews, and I would really size it up. Is this something realistically I'm going to play? Is it not? Aliens Colonial Marines, which I pre-ordered and was very happy with. I got the little statue of Sigourney Weaver inside that big power lifter thing. It's pretty badass. I've got that out in the garage. But I have the Stasis, I can't remember the name of it, the Stasis Interrupted, I think it was called, the DLC expansion. But I bought all that stuff. If you don't have it, you're completely out of luck, which is sad. Now, the games that you can play backwards compatibility-wise, those games you can still buy the DLC on the stores. If they're games that you can play in their backwards compatibility list, then you can still get the DLC for it. I think Aliens Colonial Marines is not in the backwards compatibility, but I could be wrong. American Nightmare, the Alan Wake, kind of a standalone expansion. Unfortunately, there's no physical copies of it. This is a prime example. It's so worth having this. I don't think you can buy it anymore, so you're screwed. You'd have to buy an Xbox 360 with it installed and be able to play it. I don't think it's on PC, but I could be wrong. And I've got like some of these, like the Army of Two 40th Day had DLC. So I wanted to get that DLC, and I'll show you a little later here exactly how you can access everything to see exactly all the DLC you have, all of your game saves, everything, installations, all that stuff is under settings. Battle Station specific. There's exclusive DLC for that in the way of planes and missions, extra expansion missions, which I really love. Any game that has not just skins and weapons and stuff like that, but actual extensions of missions where they add a level, or even if they're short levels. The same thing with Battle Stations Midway. It's a fantastic World War II game where you can pretty much micromanage. You can play the whole thing like a game of chess, or you can go into the plane, into the ship, into the submarine, and then operate just like in a perfect heads-up thing of whatever that tank or plane or submarine is, and then you can play it from that standpoint. Then you can zoom back out, go into an aircraft carrier. It's pretty cool. This is a small, kind of a fun game. I love these old Bionic Commando games. This is one that they kind of cleaned up, and it's really a fun game. I've had a lot of fun with it. Black is, that fantastic. I think it's an EA game, but this I have different versions of. This is a good version. It actually looks better than the one that's on the original Xbox. So all of those games that are original Xbox games that you can buy and play on the 360 or Xbox One are all upscaled. They're like 1080p or 720 at least. This is one I got, Blackgate Deluxe Edition. Kind of a fun little side-scroller Batman game, but it looked fun. I haven't played it, but I've researched it. It looked like something I could get into. So I had it. The only game that I missed the boat on, and years ago they took the demo off and they took the game off, which is so frustrating, was a game called The Warriors. Not the Warriors game that was on the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox, but it was a Warriors game as a kind of a side-scrolling brawler. It wasn't the greatest game. It got kind of mixed reviews. But it was one I meant to buy, and I just screwed around and never got it. And then all of a sudden they ripped it from the store, and it's gone forever. I saw a video recently on Camp Xbox, a fantastic channel. I can't recommend it enough, by the way. He covers a lot of 360 games, but mostly original Xbox games. And he just did a video on games that you can no longer get that were great games on the 360, arcade setup, and that was one of them. It was painful to watch that video because it's a game that I really wanted to play. I played the demo, I think, and really liked it. And I said, oh, I'll get this one of these days. I had other games I wanted to get more, and I just screwed around too long until I missed the boat. Brothers is, I think, Starbreeze Studios made a fantastic little game. I have a PS4 version of this, kind of a remastered one too. Hi, Vinny. Here's Burnout Paradise. This comes with all the DLC, the Big Surf Island, all the cars and motorcycles. I bought all of that DLC, which was expensive. You had to buy them in, pieces, and it adds up. But I also have the remastered PlayStation 4 version, and I think I have it also. I bought it for the Series X. I've got some really good versions of that. Call of Duty Classic, that's the very first Call of Duty. This is like a PC game. The only way you can play it on console is to get this version, is the Call of Duty Classic. I'm about halfway through this. I need to finish it. This, for nothing else, I would get an Xbox 360 to play one of 3 games. This is one of the 3. Call of Duty Classics. Now, Choplifter HD is a fantastic little game. I have all the extra helicopters, all the DLC. It's kind of a modern reboot of the Choplifter game from the old days on the Sega Genesis or whatever console it was on then. But here's the other one. You've got Call of Duty Classic, and then Call of Juarez Gunslinger. These 2 games I would get an Xbox 360, if nothing else, just to play these 2 games. And there's another one coming up here soon. Here's the first Crackdown, Crackdown 2. I've got a ton of DLC for Crackdown. I think I have some of the DLC, or maybe all of it, on Crackdown 2. Crimson High Road to Revenge. This is an old original Xbox game, kind of like Black. Some of them I bought. I might have got them with the Games with Gold program. I can't remember. It's a shame they don't have the artwork on them, but it's, they're still fantastic games. And this is a better version. So instead of playing it, at 480i or whatever the resolution is in the original Xbox, you can play at least 720 to 1080p here on the 360. The first Crisis game, I had the other 2. This was a gift from my friend Cameron of Industrial Gamer. He got me this game, God, years ago. And then he gave me bought me the 2 physical games, which are Crisis 2 and Crisis 3. The only way you could play the original Crisis on the 360 was a digital version. So he gave me the gift card to buy the digital version, then he physically gave me Crisis 2 and 3. And I think I've got all 3 of those installed in here with any DLC. Dante's Inferno I bought, plus the strategy guide. I bought a ton of DLC for this, which I'll show a little later. Dark Void is a great game. Unfortunately, it's not part of the backwards compatibility thing, so it's installed here. There's like 1 or 2 DLC packs, and that's why it's in here. Dead Island, this is one that I got with Games with Gold, and I think I've got DLC for this too. Dirt 2, I don't know if there was DLC or not, but this is my favorite Dirt game of all of them. Dirt 3's got a ton of DLC, but Dirt 2 just takes the cake. In fact, I got one of my intros. I use a lot of footage from the Dirt 2. Dirt 3's good though. There's one you can buy that has all the DLC in the disc, which I don't have that one, but I already bought all the DLC anyway, so I've got it all in this hard drive. I mean, I'm going to be dead before this 360 hard drive gives up, so I'm not worried about backing up hard drives and having hard drives to back that up and then hard drives to back that up. I mean, it's just, like I said, I'm going to be long gone before that happens. So here we go with the Xbox Live. This is one of the things that drives me nuts, is it kicks you out sometimes. You got to get back in. In the middle of a game that I'm playing offline, it really doesn't matter, but when I'm specifically trying to look at something and it's online, this is what happens. You scroll back where I was. Let's see, Paradise. Yeah, I did all these. Crackdown 2. Yeah, Dark Void, Dirts. Dogfight 1942 is a fun flying game, kind of like the Blazing Angels game from the old days. And I have all the DLC extra planes for it. It was a very cheap game to buy on the 360 store, so I bought that, God, I think the first week it came out. And I've got all the DLC for that. Here's original Doom and Doom 2. I think I got those with Games with Gold, but I'm not sure. Dead to Rights Retribution. I believe this is not on the backwards compatibility list. I'm not sure about that, but I think it's only on the 360, and that's why it's on here. Plus there's DLC expansions for that, and I have them. Duke Nukem 3D, Classic, Duke Nukem Forever. I have all the DLC for Duke Nukem Forever, a ton of it, and extra expansions, and I'll show that at the end. That was when I pre-ordered the Duke Nukem Forever. It came with a box with the statue and all the goodies. Here's the third game to go along with the Call of Juarez Gunslinger and the Call of Duty Classic, and that's Duke Nukem Manhattan Project. These three games, I would buy a 360 just to play these games. I've had so much fun. This is a really fun side-scroller Duke Nukem game. Really cool. He's got the little Duke Nukem blinds that he gives, and he saves the babes at each level and all that kind of stuff. But it's a fun game. It's just really well done, and it's a blast to play, and it definitely has a Duke Nukem attitude from head to foot. These two expansions, I believe, go with the Fallout 3 and New Vegas. I've got all the Game of the Year DLC for this. I've got all the 4 or 5 DLCs for New Vegas. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, I bought this the night that it was released. And I got like 5 or 6 hours into it. I was just telling someone this recently. And the game screwed up. I lost my save deal, and it was forcing me to go back and play it all the way from the beginning after putting 6 hours. I was up like in the middle of the night, 2 in the morning, and all of a sudden I had a game-breaking bug. I was so pissed, I deleted the game from the hard drive, which I installed later back again, and I never played it again. It's a shame because I love the beginning and the animations, and it's just a really fun game. I know I would like it now. In fact, there's a great channel. His name is Couch Coop. I'll see if I can put a video or a link to it down in my descriptions. It's a wonderful new game review channel. He initially started out doing a lot of co-op games and multiplayer split-screen games and stuff like that, but he does fantastic game reviews, really fun, very witty. He's from the UK, and it's just an absolute delight, his channel. I'm really happy with it, and he's been very supportive and watches my stuff as well, but I'll leave a link for his game channel below. It's a fantastic channel. He does some of the best reviews on YouTube. Fantastic stuff, and I consider him a good friend. He's a really nice dude. But anyway, he did a thing on Blood Dragon recently, a really good kind of a retro, I guess, review of it. He loved it, and he told me that I should give it a chance again. So that's what I'm going to do. Look at my Diet Pepsi here. Far Cry Classic. That's the first Far Cry, kind of like the first Crisis. Fast and Furious. Now this was a Forza Horizon 2 game. It wasn't a DLC where you needed to have the base game, which is here, but it was a standalone DLC. Really good. I think this is another one that was available for quite a while, and then they pulled it from the store and you couldn't get it again. It's really cool. You can even play like an in-car camera view of Dom's 70 Charger, and you can, as you're driving it off the line, you can nail it, and the thing rips back and pulls a wheelie, and it's just excellent animations inside the car. If you want to play from a third-person view, a great game. It has all the Fast and Furious cars that were in the original movies before they screwed it all up with the crazy way out shit. Forza Horizon, to me, the first one is still the best. I played every race, beat this game, beat all the side content, all the DLC, got extremely high scores on this one. I just didn't do the multiplayer. Forza Horizon 2. Now, I had a physical version of this just for the 360. It was different from the Xbox One version. I think it's a different studio even did the game. And it's really rare. If you have a physical version, I should have kept my physical version. I traded it in because I had both of my Xbox 360Es both came with the codes for Forza Horizon 2. I think I had that and maybe the first Tomb Raider from 2013. So because I had that, I foolishly get rid of my physical copy. So now they're like $100 or some outrageous amount of money. I'd have to look again. Maybe they've come back down, but for a while you couldn't touch them. They were really pricey. Forza Horizon 2 is probably my favorite of the four original 7th gen Forza Horizons. I'm sorry, the Forza Motorsport. I get them confused with the Horizons. Horizons are very arcadey, and the Motorsports are more of like a Gran Turismo clone. A fantastic game. I've got the Gulfstream Corvette, which is one of the reasons why I like this version, because it's my old boss and his Corvette's in this game, which is pretty cool. And it's novel to play that car that I used to see and wash and take care of inside the place called Gulfstream Engineering. Back in 90 and 91 I worked there. Forza Horizon 4, I've got multiple season passes. I probably have a couple $100 worth of DLC in this game. And they pulled that from the stores, God, years ago, long before the store went down last July 29th is when they shut down the store. But it's a fantastic game. To me, it looks just as good as any of the new Forza Motorsports. It really pushed the 360 right to the edge. You get excellent frame rate, extremely steady, and fantastic cars. The photorealism really was at its peak on the Forza Motorsport 4. But I like the color of the menus and everything else with the Forza Horizon, Forza Motorsport 2, this one here, I still like. But both of these are my favorites. Galaga, I've got just the classic Galaga from the arcades here. Gatling Gears is a really fun game. It's a shame they don't have any artwork here, but that was an arcade game that I researched, and it's kind of like a little top-down deal and extremely addictive. It looks really fun. I played it for a little bit just to kind of see the graphics, and it's great. I'm going to have to sit down and play it for a couple nights. Grid 2, I have this plus all the DLC. Grid Autosport, there's a ton of DLC, including drag racing DLC in this. So these are very heavy with DLC, and that's why they're both installed in this hard drive. Here's the original classic that was remastered. Initially, it was a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. For some reason, they only had this one. They didn't have the it wasn't until later that they had the kind of the regular PS2 version of Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 3. Those I do have physically, but this particular one was kind of like the Xbox 360 version you could buy for the 360. It's kind of an up-res version of the original Xbox one. Harm's Way is kind of a fun, they had a little games thing where game developers for free had their games available. You could get them for free. And they're fun, and some of them were winners. The ones that won the contest, Harm's Way was one of them. I can't remember the names of the other ones, but a really, really fun little game. Hitman Absolution. This is my personal favorite of all the Hitman games. And a lot of die-hard Hitman guys aren't real thrilled about that, but I love the game. It's fantastic. The graphics are really good. In fact, the new, what's it called? First Light, I think it's called, the 007 First Light. It looks almost identical to Hitman Absolution. The distance of how big the third-person character is, the lighting. I thought I was playing a Hitman game initially, and then I discovered that it's the same dev. I go, God, no wonder why it looks so familiar. Pepsi's good. All right, now Hydro Thunder, a classic. I have a lot of DLC for Hitman Absolution, quite a bit of it. Different guns, outfits, everything. Hydro Thunder, one of the coolest games on the Xbox 360 arcade games. Really fun. It's a great racing game. The graphics are okay. It's kind of dated now, but it's very fast-paced and fun, and just a bright, vibrant, fun arcade game. I Am Alive, this is one that I haven't played yet. I really want to play this. I remember seeing reviews of this a long time ago. The game is completely in black and white, and it's a kind of a dystopian view of Chicago or New York after like a epic, huge earthquake or some horrible thing that happened with Earth, and the guy's cut off, and you're climbing, scaling these extremely high buildings and bridges and trying to stay alive. I think you've got a gun in it. You have some kind of makeshift weapons. And it's just like a survival game is what it is, but it's a classic, and the only way you can play it is on the Xbox 360 if you bought it then. Sad, because these games are gone forever. You'd have to buy a 360 with this in the hard drive to be able to enjoy it, unfortunately. IL-2 Stormovik, I think it's called. I think I've got DLC for this, I'm not sure, but this was the better game. They had another one that was I can't remember, I'll remember it later. Birds of Steel, that's it, Birds of Steel. And Birds of Steel I didn't like near as much as this. I think that the IL-2 Stormovik had better graphics and more realistic flying. But I mean, both are good games, and I think I do have Birds of Steel in here, I think. I just missed the boat. The DLC was like 70 to 80 bucks to get all the plane packs. It was very expensive, and I said, man, for what that costs, I could, you know, get a ton of digital games for my 360. So unfortunately, I passed on the Birds of Steel DLC, but at least I've got all this stuff for this flying game. LA Noire, now you've got all 3 discs on this. It was a wonderful game. I got high achievement scores for playing that, God, years ago. I think I was 52 or 3 when I beat that game. This is a fun little Lara Croft, kind of a top-down game. Mafia 2, I have this plus all the DLC of Joe's missions and these other Hitman missions and car packs and clothes. I mean, I've got all the DLC for that. Max Payne 1 and 2, these are great high-resolution versions of the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox games. So I'm thrilled to have both of those. Kind of like Black, they look better. Nail, there's a little bit of DLC, maybe 1 or 2 packs for this. That's why it's in there. Very fun, extremely fast-paced, like ridiculous jumps. You almost get nauseous playing it because you're going so fast in the air. It uses like a wide-angle lens or something, and it's just you can get sick if you're not careful. I never get nauseated, but it just kind of screws with your head. The speed and the sensation of speed, and the air you get is over the top. Need for Speed: The Run is my favorite of all of the Need for Speed games. It's more of a cannonball run, California to New York race. That's why I like it, because I've done that drive. I did it in a 1970 SS Nova, 3,150 miles. I did it in 38 hours and 10 minutes. Of course, that record that's been beat is like 30 hours. It's much faster than what I did. But for an amateur version, and my little Nova hung in there. I had a 4-speed SS Nova with a 350. That thing hauled ass, and I was by myself, no radio, no heater, no AC. It's a long ways to go by yourself with no stops along the way, just for gas and to check the oil, that's it. Anyway, that's a great game. I highly recommend Need for Speed: The Run. I'm trying to finish it on hard. I got stuck on one level though. Need for Speed Carbon, this is fantastic. I've got a bunch of DLC for this. Need for Speed Shift 1 and 2 I've got as well, with a ton of DLC for those. I've got the Porsche and Lamborghini expansions for Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. There's some really good DLC for that game. Now they have a remastered PlayStation 4 version, probably on the Xbox One too, and it looks amazing. That really would be the one to get because it has all the DLC included. Need for Speed Most Wanted, the original one. Now you could get this on the original Xbox or on the 360. I like the 360 version. It just looks better and seems better. I have the black version for the original Xbox. Need for Speed Pro Street. It's a great game, more of like a kind of a legal racing game where they've got like a closed circuit and different types of racing. You build your way up. I've got all the DLC and car packs for that. Need for Speed Undercover, there's a little DLC for that. There's a special Corvette I bought and some other DLC, some of the boss cars or something. I think there's one DLC I didn't buy still, but I don't know if it's still available. Need for Speed Most Wanted, this is the kind of the reboot. There's a kind of a love-hate relationship with this one. I bought it and I sold it because I got so pissed, and then I buy it back, and I think I'm on my 3rd version of it now. But this I recently went through. This is a good example, and I researched it, and I bought not all, but most of the DLC. I have all the movie car packs with the Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am and Fast and Furious cars and stuff like that. It's got from a few different famous car movies that you can have all those packs. That's one of the ones I've got. There was like an extra airport with a bunch of racing tracks around it. I bought that DLC. I got tons of DLC for that. It's a very challenging game, by the way. Is the reboot of Most Wanted. I think 2012, I think. Excuse me, guys, my voice is really hoarse for some reason. Busy Outrun Online Arcade. This is basically, this is your coast-to-coast 2006 Outrun game. I'll see if I can fire up just the beginning of it. Sumo Digital. I think they were going to do, is it Crackdown 3, I think? They were supposed to do the Dead Island 2, but then they didn't do it for some reason. Press start. Oh yeah, hard drive. Okay. Let's do a real quick deal.
Automatic transmission. Outrun mode. Flashway.
I just hit everything real quick just to jump into it. But the graphics are great on these old arcade games. I mean, I love. Now this was another one that you couldn't get for the longest time. Just vibrant, colorful, high resolution. So this is basic. This is your 2000 coast to coast game right here. Drifting is tricky with this. Yeah, I couldn't quite drift. It was a little bit too gradual. Oops. Anyway, you get the idea. I still can't quite get a drift for some reason. Maybe right here. No, not quite. Anyway, you get the idea. It's a fun game. There you go. So it gives you kind of a glimpse of some of these old games you can no longer get. Let me see if I can jump back where I was. I'll get through the rest of it here a little quicker. Expansion, yeah, we're past all this stuff. Yeah, past all this. Max Payne. Through all the Need for Speed games. Project Sylphid, that's a great spaceship game. Kind of an anime type game. I'm not really into anime, but it's pretty interesting. Pinball Effects, there's tons of DLC for that, but it's kind of pricey. I can always get that later because I think it's still available, but I could be wrong. Outrun on, oh, that's okay, that's where I was. Outrun Online Arcade. Pac-Man, that's the original Pac-Man game. It's pretty fun. Quake Arena Arcade, that's a great little game. I've got Rage, the Rage game with all like the sewer levels, and there's a couple DLC expansions. I have all the DLC for this game, the sewer missions, and there's some other clan or group or gang that's one of the highlights of the expansion. But Rage is a good reason why you should keep a 360. I don't believe that it's, I could be wrong, maybe it is on the backwards compatibility, but either way I had all the DLC, so I want both versions. Renegade Ops, a really cool little top-down game as well. This was one I researched and added at the very last minute. I had 2 days left before the store shut down. I bought that. It was the last game I think I got. Risen 2 and 3, I bought both of these physically just before the store closed, and I got the DLC for these because I knew I had the first one, and I got the remastered first Risen on the PlayStation 4, and then I researched these other two. I said, shit, I should get those too before the store closes, and got the DLC. Russian Attack, a fun little side-scroller kind of a game. Here's a Need for Speed Shift 2 Unleashed. This has the old road race cars from the BMW, I think the Mercury Capri, a lot of those older B-class cars. It's got some great DLC. I love Shift 2. It's more refined than the first Shift, but the handling is different for some reason. I can't put my finger on it. It's just there's a difference between the handling of the first one and the second one, but I've got a lot of really nice cars modified for Shift 2 Unleashed. It's one of my favorite Need for Speed games. Sniper Elite V2, I've got multiple versions of this. for the 360 and for the PlayStation 4 remastered one. Sniper Ghost Warrior 2, a great game, split screen, and a bunch of DLC for that as well. Sega Rally Online Arcade is what the SROA stands for. My nephews would come over and I'd watch them play and split screen on that. And they had so much fun, they'd start fighting, like, all right guys, take it easy, don't take it easy. They'd start going off on each other. SSX3, now you can play that in widescreen, like 1080p, it looks incredible. This was one of the few games that I bought that, I mean, I already have it for the original Xbox in my collection, but I just love this version online with the widescreen and the super, I think it's 60 frames a second, it's really smooth. Here's the reboot of SSX, I forget what year, 2014, 13 maybe. It's a great game, I really love this game too. It's kind of hard, I gotta spend more time with it, I just get frustrated with it and I stop playing it. Test Drive Unlimited 2, I have both of them. I think there's DLC for Test Drive 2 Unlimited, so that's why it's in here. The Bureau XCOM Declassified. Now, believe it or not, this is my favorite Xbox game. A fantastic game. There's some really good DLC, like 2 expansions for this, and maybe some weapons. I love this game to death. I think I reviewed it. Yeah, you can see a review in my playlist and reviews of this. It's a great game. Highly underrated. I strongly recommend it, guys. A great game. The Force Unleashed, this is a Sith edition that I have. Comes with all the Hoth planet and Tatooine, and there's some other, I can't remember all the levels, but you've got quite a bunch of expansions with the Force Unleashed. The Saboteur, you have the nude, topless lounge act DLC for that. You can go into, instead of seeing the women with pasties on, you can see them nude or you know, topless at least, I guess. So it's kind of a novel game back then. Unfortunately, Pandemic's last game, which is so sad, I can't recommend the Saboteur enough. It's in a million videos on hidden gems. I mean, everyone uses it now as a perfect example of a hidden gem, and it really is. Thunderwolves, that was a new one I bought right before the store closed. I've yet to play it, but it looked good from the reviews of it. Here's a 2013 Tomb Raider. This and GTA 5 were kind of tied for my game of the years for 2013. And I think there's DLC for a Tomb Raider, and that's why it's in here. And it also, actually, this came with one of my, if not both of my 500 gig Xbox 360Es. It was a code that you could download the game along with Forza 2. Trials Evolution, fantastic games. The Trials game, Trials HD. It gets to the point where they're so hard, it's just literally impossible to proceed. I went nuts. Some levels I did like 30 to 40 times to try to beat them. So I got frustrated. I went as far as I could in the game and I just hit like a brick wall, and that was the end of that. This is one of my favorite zombie games, and everyone rips it apart, pisses all over it, but it's a fantastic game. And it's the only George Lucas, no, I'm sorry, actually that's a game for the original Xbox. It was the official George Lucas game. I can't remember what it was called. Oh, Land of the Dead, Road to Fiddler's Green. This kind of reminds me of that game, but with better graphics. I can't remember the name of the devs that did this. They're some of my favorite kind of AA devs that made this. But it's a good, competent zombie game, and it's got some very interesting concepts in it I've never seen in any video games, of how you can travel, how you can have people that you recruit, and then they can go out and scavenge items for you. It's just a really neat game and pretty intense. I can't recommend it enough. It's one of my favorites. I think I did review this. You can check my review out on that. Vigilante 8 Arcade. This is kind of a more recent Vigilante 8 game. I really like this. It's a fun game, kind of in the vein of Twisted Metal. This is one of my top 10 favorite Xbox 360 games. Is the Wolfenstein reboot. This is before the Machine Games one. Now this is also one of the last games by Raven Software, and they also did the Singularity as well, which was right after this was the Singularity game. That's another reason. So there's a good example. It's worth having an Xbox 360 just to play the Wolfenstein game and the Singularity game. Both two fantastic games, and it's the only way you can play them. I think you can get a PS3 copy as well. I actually have the PS3 version and the 360, just have an extra version of it. XCOM Enemy Unknown, a great game. There's DLC for that. And Zombie Driver HD, a fantastic game that's got a ton of DLC for that as well. So anyway, those are what I have installed in there, and then I'll quickly show you where you can really get into the system. And let's see, where do we go? Storage. Go into storage, and this shows everything. Games and apps. So here's your Bloodstone. No, this just has save game data. There's no DLC for that, but here's Legends. It's a good example. So you can see your save game. Here's the original installation of it, and then you get the Skyfall content downloaded item. And if you had 5 things of DLC, you'd see another 4 DLC packs below that. Ace Combat, Assault Horizon, there's an Afterburner Climax, Alien Breed 2 and 3, Alien Rage. Here's Colonial Marines. You can go in here. Yeah, see, here's a collector's edition I bought, I pre-ordered. Here's the limited edition pack, and here's the expansion, Stasis Interrupted, which is actually better than the plot of the actual game. It's a great game. Give it a chance, and don't let the reviews scare you, because it's really fun. Now, the original Army of Two is backwards compatible, but the 40th Day one is here, TFD, 40th Day. And here is Chapters of Deceit. That's the DLC pack for that. That's why that game is installed in here. And actually, I got the Devil's Cartel. I think there's DLC for this too, if you pre-ordered it for that one, which is a good game. Really good. The environment you can destroy. You can shoot up tile walls and take out, chunks of bricks and stuff with your guns. It's pretty cool with the destructible environments, and just a fun game. You got a 2-man team you can operate, but it gets shit on, unfortunately. But I think it's a great game. Army of Two, 40th Day, Assault on Dark Athena. You got a commentary mode that you could play, which I've never tried, where the devs actually talk over the game while you're playing it. But these are all, here's the Blackgate there, Battlefield 3, 2, here's Midway, and then there's the Iowa Mission Pack. You have a carrier strike group or something that you can it's a DLC expansion you can download. Here's Battle Station Specific. Yeah, you get the Mustang, P-51 Mustang pack, and the Volcano map pack. So some of them just had, like one DLC in them, but this, you can see there's you see a lot more games in this that are saved than you'll see in everything that I just showed you. But here's all of BioShock Infinite. There's my original 360 game, all the saved game spots, and there's DLC for it too. Wow, a ton of DLC. Upgrade pack, Season Pass. Birds of Steel. Sadly, I don't have any. This would have had a shitload of DLC, but I just couldn't afford it. Black, there's the first Black game, Brothers in Arms, Hell's Highway, Bulletstorm, Burnout Revenge, Paradise. Here's Paradise, tons of DLC. Cops, Paradise, Big Surf Island, everything. Call of Duty 2. Some of the Call of Duties I have map packs for, some don't. No, I don't see map packs in those. Call of Duty 4, no. I thought I had some, maybe not. There's a Call of Duty Classic. Call of Juarez, World at War, another favorite of mine. I love the World at War. Macon bonus map, okay? So there is DLC for that, because I think I pre-ordered it. Call of Juarez, Choplifter, the Cartel. Here's the Crackdown with tons of DLC for that too. Crackdown 2, there's that Highway, Crimson Skies, High Road to Revenge. Dante's Inferno, a ton of DLC for that, as you can see. Dark Void, Dead Island. The Ripper mod. I remember if you pre-order it, you get the Ripper. That's funny, it brings back memories. Dirt 2, Dirt 3, I've got a ton of DLC for that. It's that dogfight one with extra planes, Russian African campaigns, that's true. And some of those came with planes that went with them. Doom 3 BFDG, Driver San Francisco. I don't know if there's DLC for that. No, I guess not. Here's the Manhattan Project. That's a great game. You can see by how big the file sizes are. 500 gigs goes quite a ways with this. Earth Defense, Slave, Escape Dead Island only has one DLC. Underwater Labs, that was their expansion for that. So that overall is a theme. Is each of the games that have DLC, even if it's one DLC, I install it in this hard drive. Then the other 500 gig E model is out in my game room. That one I use just to play a game that doesn't have any DLC. So if I want to install a game or a handful of games and play them with no DLC, I can do it on that hard drive where this is maxed out. This one's earmarked just for the DLC-laden games. Fast and Furious, Fear, here's all the Fear ones. There might be DLC, downloaded items, yep. Fallout 3, yep, there's all the DLC for that. The Pit. Fallout New Vegas, it doesn't show the DLC here, but it's in the game. When you fire the game up, there's a menu that shows it. Blood Dragon, Far Cry 3. And you can see, there's just, I'll quickly get through this, not to bore you, but there's quite a bit. Just goes on and on and on. Ton of it. Kane and Lynch. Medal of Honor, Metro. Racing, there's a shitload of stuff on this hard drive. It's really packed. I just ran out of room. I had just enough space to get all my DLC and digital games in there. Wow, Sleeping Dogs. There should be a bunch of DLC for that, yeah. But I mean, I got the PlayStation 4 version that comes with all that DLC included. So, Sniper Ghost Warriors, Sniper V2, Sniper Elite, Split Second. There's DLC for that. A bunch of it. I've got it all, like tracks and cars. SSX 3, that's just the straight game. Oh, wait a minute, there's a couple different ones here. Originals, huh? Here's the reboot, that's got a ton of DLC, and I got all the extra mountains and items in that. Star Trek, a very frustrating game. It was, yeah, Elite Officer Pack, I have very little for that one. Stoke Big Air Edition. Terminator Salvation. I mean, these are, some of them are games that I was in the middle of playing, and that's why I haven't erased them yet, because I want to finish the games, and then I can take them off the hard drive. I could have put those on the other hard drive that I've got. Force Unleashed, Godfather 2, Saboteur. Here's a Saboteur. Wow, look at all these saved games, and I think there should be a DLC in here somewhere. Jeez, look at the saves. Oh, the Midnight Show it's called. It's a topless lounge act, apparently. So, yeah, that's the only way you can get it. If you don't have it now, it's too late. You'll never be able to see it unless you buy it on a 360 already. There's Walking Dead Survival Instincts. I think there is. There were some, because I ordered it, pre-ordered it, so I got downloadable items in that. Thunderwolves, Time Shift. It's a great game, by the way, Time Shift. Tom Clancy's Zen War, I haven't played that. Tomb Raider, there should be some, yeah, a little bit of DLC there. Tomb Raider Legend, Underworld, Trials Evolution, Vigilante, Wolfenstein. There should be just a flamethrower DLC. Yep, there it is, bonus item for pre-ordering the game, jeez. So that's pretty much it. You can see all the stuff there. That's how you can see what DLC you have and save game spots and all that good stuff. And then you can go, let me see what else I have. Where's my, oh, here it is, apps. You go to My Apps, and then you go to System Music Player. And in this hard drive, I have hundreds of CDs. Tons and tons and tons of CDs. There's Soundgarden. So you can go in here to Soundgarden, pick something. I'll just start to play a song. enough of that. I don't want to get copyright claimed on that, but it just shows you I've got tons of songs in here, tons of albums and songs within each album. So it's fantastic. A lot of jazz, April Wine. I got some rock stuff, some Chuck Mangione, the soundtrack from the movie Drive, Eagles hits. I mean, a lot of jazz stuff here. Even the LA Noir soundtracks in here. Static X, that was in one of the Duke Nukem Land of the Babes, had a song in there. Megadeth, greatest hits. Miami Vice. I mean, tons of great 80s stuff. It's just, and you can crank it through your I've got a JBL soundbar with a subwoofer, and it sounds fantastic, like you're playing a high-end stereo. But anyway, that gives you an idea of what I have, what I've enjoyed going through, researching, saving the games, everything. Just a really nice setup and quite enjoyable. So that's my 360, guys. Just want to give you a look of what I put, 8 weeks into researching those and buying a lot of those and the DLC. So anyway, guys, that's it. You get a peek of the 360 of love. I'm going to be doing a game room tour fairly soon. I'm still working on the garage. There's just so much I've been going through. We've got the last of my father-in-law's stuff. Instead of putting it in an expensive storage unit, we kept it here in the garage. And I kind of had to put my game room on hold. The game room was, a lot of stuff was kind of stored in there too. So I'm getting to the point now where we've kind of got all that stuff in one area, and I've got my game room back. I still have some more clearing out to do and some organization, but it's getting close. And then I'll show a really cool tour pretty soon of it. So, and then I got some other plans. I want to show you my RetroTink 2X Pro and show you what I can do and how good it looks for PlayStation 2 and original Xbox and some GameCube stuff. And then I've also got some new games I'll show you real quick. I just found these yesterday. Actually, one of them was a special order that I asked my buddy of mine that runs the biggest retro store in town here. And he doesn't do it for everyone, but he'll look for like 1 or 2 items for me at a time. I don't abuse it. I just save it for when I have no other choice. And he found me a really brand new looking copy of Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. Now I finally found the Sly Cooper trilogy or collection at his store, and I thought that was all of the PlayStation 2 games that were remastered. But there was a 4th one that was made just for the PlayStation 3, and that's this Thieves in Time. You can see tons of excellent reviews of this. It's got 3 different characters you can play as or back in the older PlayStation 2 games. Lots of cool mini games, a really nice game. It's a flawless copy of the disc inside. And then I found this. I've looked for this for the longest time. I'm kind of near the end of my GameCube. There's not much stuff left to get for it. But I finally found my Wave Race Blue Storm game. I've looked for this for over a year or so. Never see it in the stores. I finally researched it a little over a year ago. I said, I got to add this to my... I love anything with like snowboarding and jet skis and, racing and skateboarding, that kind of stuff. So a jet ski game, and the water effects in this look fantastic even now for, way back for a GameCube game. I have a backwards compatible Wii, thanks to one of my friends, and then I've got this fantastic, what is it? I've got a GameCube too, original GameCube that a friend of mine was gracious enough to get for me, and it really is nice. I've never used it yet, but it's a silver one. It's in good shape. It doesn't look like it's scratched up or anything, so I haven't even tried it. But I've got a bunch of, mostly the Star Wars games and the exclusives for the GameCube. There's like 2 or 3 other GameCube games, and that's all I'm getting. The prices of these are really high. This is about, $18.99. It's like $19 for this, but it's complete. The disc is in good shape, and it's just happy to have this in my collection. I got like, Die Hard Vendetta. I've got the Rebel Assault, some of those Star Wars games that were only on the GameCube. So I'm thrilled to have these 2 in my collection. I've kind of slowed down the collecting. I did a bunch of it over the summer, and I showed those in my last video. From here on out, it'll be a game here and 2 games there. Not too much. It takes me a while to accumulate stuff because I've got a pretty tight budget, but these are great games. I'm happy. These are both kind of heavy hitters that I wanted for my collection. I'm happy to have them. So anyway, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll try to do these videos as often as I can. It may be every week. It may be once a month, but I'll do my best. Thank you so much for the support and for watching, and enjoy your games. God bless.